Alrighty, okay. Let's get this show on the road. I need a clicker though. Oh, okay, glad that everyone made it here today. And for the 30th DevOps and AI Meetup, we've been doing these for quite some time now, and we reached quite the round number. Very happy for that. Very happy that you all can be here with us for this milestone as well. And okay, let's get into it. So today we have two speakers, Eriks and Mārtiņš. Format then stays as always. We have part one, where we do the first speaker, and then we have a short lightning talk. We have a little bit of a break for food and drinks, and then we continue with part two. And those of you who would like to participate afterwards, we have a little after party event. I'm not sure how to call it, but there's gonna be another thing if someone's interested afterwards. So, none of these kind of events can be really possible with our sponsors, and we have our general partner for the year, Arvato Systems Latvia. Big thanks to them. Yes, okay. Same as for these lovely venue, we have to say thanks to Workland and the lovely team that always supports us and lets us do the events here. So a big round of applause for Workland as well. So who we are. So this is the group of people who organizes all these events. So we are doing this out of our free will because we like it. We've been doing it for quite a time. The team changes a bit, but the main people who organize it are like here as well. So if you raise hands or give hand signals, that yes, some people are here who organize from the team as well. These are some of the companies we work for, the ones we put on display. So this is where we work, and in general, why we do these kinds of events is for the community, because we've been doing DevOps and AI for quite some time, and the best part about like a lot of different things is the community that we can come together, socialize, talk about cool stuff, and have these kinds of events, and it's very lovely to have them. And by doing these kind of events, we grow the community as a whole. We share what cool things we do in different places, and we make happier DevOps specialists and better AI practitioners as well while doing it. So if you want to get in touch with us, you can do it so by reaching out to us via Slack, LinkedIn, Facebook, Meetup, or we have DevOps LV, where you will be able to see the pictures after the event, and on our YouTube channel you can watch the replay of the presentations as well. Either if you watch online, you can watch it afterwards, or if you watch it live. If you want to be a presenter yourself, you are very welcome to do so. We are very open to everyone presenting with their new great things what they're doing, and you can apply in DevOps LV. There's a form for it, so please do so. And for sponsorships, we are very open to sponsors as well. We do like it when people sponsor us, so it makes possible all kinds of events, and we can have multiple things that we can do with sponsorships as well. So there's different tiers of it, like per event, one event general sponsor, or general that's for a whole year. Yes, so here again, agenda. And I think we can then welcome our first speaker, Eriks, Klotins. present this. Uli, how do you full screen this?
It's tricky with the PDF. Oh, that was static electricity. I have wonder fingers, and then it should be somewhere here if I remember correctly. Oh no. Here's more again. Now, who's the expert? Where was it? Let's try this. Ideas? Where was it?
If that's PDF, you can just drop it to Chrome and press F11.
Drop it to Chrome. That immediately sounds a bit. It was somewhere there. Control what?
L.
Control L. Let's do that. See.
Magic.
ChatGPT.
First task of today successful. All right, so everyone, a round of applause for our presenter from Eriks.
Thank you. I hope everything goes smooth from here. And I would like to share with you a few ideas about continuous everything. But before we go there, I think it fits if I tell you who I am and why I'm here. So a brief history of me is that in about 2011, I graduated from University of Latvia and ended up in Sweden doing Erasmus double diploma program, which was kind of my first important milestone that brought me here. Then after getting my master's, I came back to Latvia, worked at La Telecom Technology at the time. Together with a few of my friends, we established a company of our own with the sole purpose of doing business. We learned a lot on the way.
Did everything.
And mostly worked on different internet projects. Facebook and drug MLI games were all the hype at that time. So we built some for ourselves, some for the different agencies who were ready to pay for it. And then in 2014, I got an offer to do a PhD in Sweden. PhD is a scary word for many. It certainly was for me at the time. But long story short, I spent 5 years in Sweden working with about 200 startups. Not with all of them at the same time, but I ended up studying about 200 companies, how they build software and how startups should be building software to succeed eventually, or at least not screw up immediately. And in 2019, I defended my thesis and became a doctor. That was quite a milestone, and for one evening, I asked everyone to call me a doctor, but it lost its appeal soon after. But I stayed with the university as a postdoc and now as an assistant professor. And since then, I have worked with many companies and studied how they work, what works for them, what does not, and hopefully have helped a few of them to get a little bit better. And these are these are the origins for some of the ideas I'm going to share with you today. But before that, so here's Latvia, that's Sweden, and Blekinge Tekniska Högskola. This is where I'm from. This is what I represent today. And this is our beautiful campus. It's by the sea. You can go sunbathing, swimming during a lunch break. Now it's all gray and dull because it's winter. It looks like this for exactly 3 days a year. But it's a very, very nice environment simply because there's one building, which is the university, but all the surrounding buildings are different companies. And that build products that we all use every day. So that's about me. And so with this university, so it's a small university. It's not on not Chalmers, not KTH, but there are some good things. One, and I think most important, is that we work with the companies exclusively. So about 50% of our funding, if that's a measure of anything, comes directly from companies. So these companies and many more find our work interesting and relevant and want to invest real money into doing research with us. And that I think creates a very good environment to accumulate ideas and share them with the broader community. Working with these companies, there's one kind of underlying trend which I think is very, very important, and I hope to come back to it through my talk, which is that everyone wants to get better at building software. Doesn't matter, you're a big company, small company, you do furniture or you do software products, there's something about software that you want to improve. And I trace the origins of this back to the space program, where in the 1960s people tried to build software to control the lunar lander, and different people are sitting at different parts of a building doing something that we would call software engineering, but software engineering was not invented back then. So they tried to hack things together. It was not working that well. So there was one smart manager who called them all together, and they created the first principles of how are you going to do this and not crash. Now, 50 years later, we are again meeting here to exchange ideas. How do we build software in a better way? So nothing much has changed, but we at least have some good ideas how we should be doing that. Maybe to illustrate a little the journey from the old days back to today is we have the model that shall not be named, that says that if you create a very good plan from the start and follow the plan, then everything's going to be all right at the end. That was the idea. It didn't work out that well for most projects. Then around the turn of the millennia came Agile, which said, there's no perfect plan. Let's do it in iterations and through that learn on the way as we go. And a very important thing is that Agile primarily depends on human collaboration. There are things like team that comes together in one room and works together. There's a concept of customer in the room that helps developers to understand what they want, and so on, which is very nice ideas. But how do you do this if your company spans 3 continents and you have 10 million customers? So that's kind of becomes problematic. Then there's the latest flavor of all this, which is continuous engineering, CI/CD, which uses a lot of automation, lots of telemetry, aims to ship software to millions of customers immediately, gather telemetry and learn something from that and then ship the next iteration. And companies like Google, like Spotify, they ship hundreds of times per day, different updates, features, experiments, and through that fine-tune their product to what customers want at the time. So this is not meant to be 3 distinct ways to deliver software, because there's, of course, some planning in Agile and some automation in Waterfall. But this is meant to represent some of the ideas that have been considered. So, and from the companies that I worked with, many are large. They have been around for 100 years, and they have built, a lot of software in the, they probably started with the Waterfall, then did Agile transformation, then, then something else, and now they're looking, okay, how can we, be like Google and do continuous engineering and ship, many times per day, which inspired a research project that we did, and it started shortly after the pandemic. It's been, 4 years now or so? We started with the idea, okay, like let's look how CI/CD should be done, like continuous integration, continuous delivery. And then it very fast became continuous engineering, because it's not just integration and delivery that needs to be automated, but other things like requirements, like planning and so on. But then we looked into the concept further, and it turned out that it's not just that. It's the organization has to become continuous in a way, and then it became continuous everything. Yeah, and that's the main focus of my talk today. And as good researchers, so we started to we try to understand what is continuous engineering, like what are the different elements that we need to consider, and we came up with a model. I'm going to introduce it now. So, and to understand the model, there are 4 areas that we need to understand. At the very top, it's engineering. This is where engineers, people who write code, people who do tests and builds and all that, that's where they sit. Then we have the second level, which is product level. This is where product planning takes place. And then we have operations level, where people who operate the product sit. And at the very bottom, we have customers, people who benefit from the software in some way. And this can be one organization if it's an internal product for internal users, or it can be multiple organizations depending on how the business is set up. That's not that important. The important part is that there are boundaries between product and engineering, between customers and operations. And whenever something has to cross a boundary, that's a good place for friction to happen. The continuous engineering starts with continuous. There was supposed to be a color, but it's not quite there yet. But bear with me. So there's product planning, which in the spirit of continuous engineering is short-lived, flexible, no long, rock-solid product plans. It's like, what's the next thing that we are going to build with an open mind and ready to change if new information comes in. In those plans then are delivered to engineers who use different tools and practices and lots of automation to produce working software out of those plans. Then happens continuous delivery, where the software is provided back to product people, so it's ready to be shipped to the customers. And in a true continuous spirit, it's without any human intervention, deployed for customers. It doesn't happen in reality like that. I hope you understand it. I'm just trying to paint a picture. So once the software is deployed, it's available for customers. And as customers use the software, they generate feedback, which can be in anything from log files to angry emails, analytics, and so on, which is then monitored, analyzed, and supposedly serves as an input for the next planning cycle. And on top of all this, there is cross-cutting concerns that we found that they are kind of belong here, but they are not specific steps. They kind of belong to all the steps at once, such as security. In a plan-driven model, you would have security verification step somewhere before the delivery, where everything stops and security people tell if this is good enough to be shipped. That, of course, doesn't work in a continuous universe. You have a little bit of security everywhere. Already, for example, the planning stage, you can do some threat modeling and so on, and integrate security throughout the process. The same with compliance, the same with resources planning, and so on. So this is the model we created that we believed represented what continuous engineering is. And of course, this model is meant to represent the ideal state that doesn't exist, but it was meant to be material for discussion. And we did exactly that. We brought this model to different companies, these and a few others, and basically asked people, like, when you look at this, which parts you already have in place, what is missing, what do you think is most interesting, where are the challenges, and what do you want from this? What is missing? And it's very interesting because I have done this presentation in many companies, and ask people, do you agree? And they all stand up and clap and say, yes, it's exactly like that. So I hope that someone disagrees with me at some point. So please, if you disagree with what I'm going to say, then throw something at me and we can, discuss it further. So continuous engineering, in all the cases that I have heard of, happens, and there was a color. There is a color, yes. The green area, this is where the continuous engineering starts. It always starts at the engineering level. For most organizations, this is not a problem. It's mostly a matter of throwing enough resources at automating things, streamlining things, refactoring things. So it happens, maybe not immediately, but it's certainly not the area of the main concern. One of the reasons is that engineers are lazy and they like to automate things. Another reason is that managers read books, attend conferences, maybe attend a meetup, where they hear about CI/CD as the next great thing, and automation and tests, and so it sounds like something engineers might be doing, and so they throw the problem at engineers, and the engineers gonna do what they can within their realm of engineering. But it kind of stops with delivery. Of course, they can automate some parts of it, but they don't have reach all the way down. And then it comes to continuous deployment, which many want to do, but few can, for the simple reason that customers don't want it. And here I can ask, how many of you have had Teams or Zoom update before an important meeting? At least a few of you. How that made you feel? Excited about all the new features that are coming your way? Definitely, yes. So now think if it's business critical, safety critical software, so companies are reluctant to give away control. So this works for companies like Spotify, where they control the entire ecosystem. They build software, they operate it, and customers are at their mercy. If Spotify app wants to update, it's updating, and you have no say in it. And it's probably fine because, I don't care. I just want my music. As long as it plays, I don't care. But for companies like Ericsson builds telecom software. Like your mobile phone works because of Ericsson software and hardware. And as they once explained, that 1 second of a downtime costs them many millions in fines and lost reputation and then costs to fix it. So it's serious business. And so this is highly problematic. Then this part at the bottom, it's not like it's not addressed at all. Many try to collect telemetry. Many do, but then few can make good use of it. And to give you an example of this, we were discussing the same picture with an automotive company from Sweden, and they very proudly told us that they have test cars driving around on streets and collecting telemetry, and each car generates about a petabyte of data per day. It's quite a lot of data. Then we kind of went into discussing this, how they use this data and what is actually happening, and it turned out that there's driving experience. You know what it means. You drive BMW, it behaves differently than Volkswagen, and differently than Porsche, and differently than something else. So each car is feels slightly different, although the mechanics is more or less the same. And companies go great lengths to fine-tune this driving experience. And turns out that for this company to fine-tune the driving experience, engineers take their laptops, go to a racetrack with a test driver, sit in the car and tweak some parameters live as they drive, because that petabyte of data is useless. So collecting data doesn't mean that it's actually valuable. It just means you have data. Further, there are many problems. Like not everyone wants to share data. Again, if you think about Spotify, they know what music you like. They can analyze the hell out of it. If you think of a company like Ericsson, they don't work directly with end users. They work through telecom operators. And they have airtight contracts, and they're very sensitive if anything leaks. meaning that there's no data. The best they can get is an invoice saying that some company bought these and these products from us. So it's highly problematic. And then when it comes all the way to product planning, it's people has to trust data and use data and be data literate, which is not always the case. But then moving forward, this doesn't exist in a vacuum. This exists in an organization. An organization does not exist in a vacuum. Organizations exist in a real world, and the real world is not continuous. A simple example, companies mostly have yearly budgets and yearly plans and quarterly shareholder reports and all that, meaning that they operate with a cadence that spans months and years. Companies depend on partners that provide them something, and they operate with some cadence, which is most certainly not the same cadence as the circle here. I haven't heard of continuous legal. Have you ever worked with lawyers? Are they continuous? Automation all the way? Most likely not. So that's something. Sometimes companies deal with legacy systems. I once worked with an insurance company in Norway. They have a mainframe in a basement, actual mainframe with COBOL. They have written some Java wrappers around the COBOL infrastructure, to make some sense of it and be able to integrate with it. But good luck doing proper test automation there. And sometimes you have to deal with this. Sometimes, this continuous engineering happens in a large organization that has, roadmaps that spans decades. And you just can't invent things as you go because data says so. You have to follow the roadmap. So, point being is that, this might work on a small scale, but the real world is much more complicated, and there's always the interface between continuous and non-continuous world. And this is where the most challenges happen. So, do you agree with me so far? Or there's something that you find that you disagree with? Looks real. Feels real. Yeah, so this is not easy. But, and working with these companies, we kept hearing this big question. Basically, how an organization with decades of development, products that are in millions and millions of lines of code, that is safety and business critical, how can they benefit from all this? Where do they start? And of course, they have started already. There some process of automating something, and there are probably newer developments that are built with recent technologies, cloud native, and so on, and maybe some decades-old products that are just not there, but they still have to maintain them because customers require it or compliance requires it. So how can these organizations benefit from these ideas, and where do they start? And again, what we learned is, ABCD technique, as simple as that, but it's not simple. It's 2-day workshop to go over all the details of that. I'm going to share some ideas. So, and the point is not to disrupt the organization, because the companies we work with, they are market leaders in their segments, so they must be doing something right. So they cannot just throw everything out and move some new practices in. So there has to be some compatibility. And so we came up with A, B, C, and D, and a few other letters. So first, set specific, measurable, and realistic goals. I mentioned the manager attending a conference, hearing about new ideas, and then bringing them to the organization. So we had exactly this happening. And the manager said, not the manager, it was a big boss, so I think the vice president said, well, from 2025, we are going to be fully continuous. Everything's going to be automated, many deliveries per day. That was in 2022. That's one of the largest organizations there is in the world. I asked, okay, like, what do you hope to get out of this transformation? They were not quite ready to answer that, but we kind of dug deeper and asked people, and I spoke with an engineering team. Okay, so you're going to do continuous engineering. What do you hope to get out of it? Well, we want efficiency. I said, very good, so what's efficiency for you? Well, we'll be able to deliver more features with the same resources. Well, fine, that's the definition of efficiency. Well, you can count the features, and that's a measurable goal. And then I spoke with another team, which happened to be in operations. And they were also very excited about continuous engineering and CI/CD and automation. And I asked, okay, what do you hope to get out of it? And they said, well, we want to be efficient. And I said, what does it mean for you? Well, we want to, have minimal resources to, we want stability. We want, lock down the production environment so it doesn't break, and we can keep maintaining the infrastructure with fewer resources. That's efficiency. And then I thought, okay, so one team is going to ship more and more features. The other team wants to keep everything stable. And now, when these two start to get together and one team is shipping, the other is actively resisting that, it doesn't seem like a viable strategy to move anywhere. And this is, I think, a very typical scenario where companies think they know what they want, but they don't quite get at the bottom of it, what it means for them. And then sometimes you have things like flexibility and efficiency that are kind of goes against each other. You cannot have both flexibility and efficiency, because flexibility requires some loose resources that you can assign to have the flexibility, but that underutilized resources are not very efficient. So which one then you want? And so on. Then item B, as I mentioned, companies does not exist in vacuum. And I have a big problem with the companies relying on books. There's one very famous book. It's called Accelerate. It's a good book. I like it. But it sort of tries to assume that everything is changeable. Just ship and customers will be happy, and we're going to solve all the problems with that. But it doesn't work in real life like that. You cannot just do things. Sometimes you have immovable constraints. Sometimes you have that big mainframe in the basement. Sometimes you have customers who simply don't want the new features. Sometimes you have contracts that limit what you can and cannot do. So knowing what you cannot move is a very important second step. Item C, establish a baseline. So you want flexibility or want efficiency. Very good. How efficient are you today? And that's a very tough question for many in big organizations, because very few actually measure anything. And so on. So I'm not going to go in detail with everything, but the idea is establish a baseline, know where you are, know what the bottlenecks are, remove some of them, measure again, see if there is an improvement, and repeat. And the CI/CD cycle, continuous improvement, allows you to do exactly that. But this would not be a good talk if I wouldn't mention AI in some way. Where does AI fit in all this, and how can we be AI augmented, continuous, and still ship good software? So some facts that I think are relevant for discussion. First is that only 10 to 15% of engineers' time is spent writing code. And that includes writing code, debugging code, writing tests, and so on. So I have heard two opinions. Oh, it's that much, or oh, it's that little. So, but it's somewhere there. That's actually a quite representative study of how engineers spend their time. And if 15% is spent on code, then let's say we become 10 times more efficient with Gen AI. Does it really make a substantial impact on all the other things that we are doing as engineers? Well, maybe.
6 hours. You have 6 more free hours to spend on the others.
Yes, very good. So, and you know, when we increase we produce more code, there has to be balance with other things, like product planning, like what are we actually writing? You know, does it make sense to deliver what you're delivering? You know, is this actually good stuff that you're delivering? Quality assurance. And that has to be stepped up again as well. Sometimes it can with automation, but sometimes it cannot. And the two final items I think are most important. Customers have a limited capacity to absorb new features. You cannot just throw stuff at them and hope something sticks. At the very least, they'll become angry. So there is, you know, optimal cadence depending on the type of software you're delivering, type of business, and so on. So there's practical limit. What can company afford to do? And even more important, all of this doesn't matter if it doesn't help organizational learning. And organizational learning is a very important thing because you know, organizations exist because they have found kind of the right place to be, serve the right needs for the right customers, deliver the right value proposition, and you know, they exist because they have found their place. But since the modern world is developing so fast, you know, this is changing all the time. And the company that first finds the new opportunity gains a bit of competitive advantage. And to find that opportunity that requires organizational learning, learn something new about the market, about customers, about technology that no one has found just yet, and kind of capitalize on that. And you know, if that's not proportionally increased, then all is lost, because then it's just throwing mud at the wall and hoping it sticks. And as I hope I have convinced you so far, that the real challenges are not technical. It happens, you know, in the boundary between continuous and non-continuous worlds. And maybe AI can help. I certainly hope it can help there. But the solution is not to produce more code. The solution is to increase organizational learning. And how much time do I have? I have a few minutes. All right, so maybe to illustrate a bit. So there's a timeline that I invented. It starts that at some point there's a market opportunity. Something has happened in the market that can be capitalized, but nobody just knows about it yet because nobody knows that it exists. Then a company can identify that there is an opportunity, but it's not at the same moment. The time has passed. Then, once they know there's an opportunity, they can formulate a plan. What to do about this opportunity? They can, break down that plan into tasks and tickets and, epics and whatnot. Then developers get to work. They update the source code. There's some feedback from Q&A, internal readiness, and then it's deployed to customers. But then it's out of the building. The company doesn't control it anymore. And then customers notice the change and change their behavior accordingly. Maybe click on some button more, or notice there's a new functionality, or pay you more, or something changes. And then later on, the opportunity window closes, and it's old news. Nobody cares. And with this diagram, I like the most. It's a work from I think from Toyota guys that said that the most important thing here is time to impact. The rest doesn't really matter. What matters is when a company senses there's an opportunity, how quickly customer behavior changes after that. Of course, it's better if it's shorter time, because then they can be first to make the impact and kind of benefit from the market. But it spans a lot. And if you talk about engineering, then engineering is, one component in this. Then we have traditional CI/CD that says, what's the time between source code is updated until it's ready to be deployed and deployed. But again, it's not very useful because, it's again doesn't span too much. And there are other things that we can look at and measure. What I found important is time to learning. So there's a plan. A company made a choice to bet on something. Ship new functionality, new quality, use new technology, something. Here, how quickly they can figure out, was that a good plan? They control some parts of it. They control what they do internally, but they don't control what customers do. And in this picture, where AI can help us. Of course, we can, update source code much faster now. That's the primary use. Maybe we can, even ask our favorite generative model to create a plan for us. But that's a long shot because managers like to take decisions or pretend they take decisions. So it's mostly a human problem here. Then time to development. So even if everyone agrees that we have to use this opportunity, but it's not really scheduled or budgeted for this year, we're going to do this next year. So then the real time is spent somewhere else, not in development. And then putting together what I presented just before is the resources are planned per year, per quarter. So that's a very inflexible part. And even if everyone agrees that this is a good opportunity, it still takes time to actually plan the resources for that. I'm talking about big companies with complex processes. So here, the time between tasks are scheduled and the source code is updated. Well, that's 10 to 15%. Then what I found fascinating is that most companies have sometimes weeks, sometimes months of time between the software is ready and actually enabled for customers because of marketing, because of some internal concerns. The software just sits behind a feature toggle, and nobody knows about it. And but the real learning happens here. Has customers actually changed their behavior in a way that the company expected? Are they paying more? Are they more happy? Are they more productive? Is the value proposition where it's supposed to be? And I can see how AI can help us there, but I haven't seen a good proposal how it can help here. So if you have good ideas, I'm all ears. This concludes my talk. What I hope you're going to take away from this is that the focus of continuous engineering, the focus of using AI in engineering is not to ship more or ship more frequently. The focus should be to ship something better. Of course, what's better depends on who you ask, but there at least has to be some benefit. And maybe AI and all this automation can help there, but it's very easy to overdo it. You're going to forget the better part. And then it becomes, a mud throwing contest where we throw stuff out, doesn't learn anything from it, and end up in a very messy room with stuff and even better methods to throw stuff around. Thank you very much. I was told there will be time for questions.
Yes, there is.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so in the very beginning, you mentioned having studied like 200 software companies to find out what kind of makes a good one and what prevents them from collapsing, I guess. And if you had to sum up that, like everything you learned there in like one sentence, what would be like the main thing you learned?
I have the long answer and the short answer to this. The long answer is read my thesis. It's about, I think, 300 something pages. But I got the same question, so I was writing my, finalizing everything, and I got the same question from people I know. Okay, well, like, what's the secret formula? And I actually came up with one. It's actually quite simple. For any startup to have any chance of success, first thing you need is domain knowledge. You want to do something in medicine, you better know something about medicine. You want to launch a startup in automotive, you know a thing or two about cars. You want to, whatever area you want to do, you have to have some knowledge about this. First, it will allow you to invent better ideas. Startups invent their products. Like, I know very little about medicine. Of course, I have 100 ideas on how to improve healthcare, but most of them will be crap because I simply don't know. And if it's much better to ask for ideas for people who have been in the area. So that's one. Second is, if you are into domain, if you practice, let's say, medicine, healthcare, you would know people there. And those people can become your co-founders. Those people can become your partners. They can become your customers, your employees. So that's very helpful, because otherwise you have to, ask around people, and you might get lucky or not. So the first thing is you have to have domain knowledge. The second thing you need is technical competence, enough to actually pull off what you have planned for. If you plan to build an app, you better know a thing or two about apps. If you plan to build a physical gadget, again, it's good to know a thing or two about physical gadgets. And then this is where complementary skills come together. If someone who knows software engineering comes together with someone who knows healthcare, good things happen. The third thing you need is resources to work on your idea. It doesn't mean you have to attract millions of investment from the get-go. It simply means that you have some time you can set aside to work on your idea. And from what I have seen, it's if you dedicate a weekend here and there, you can get pretty far by testing your idea, piloting the product. And then, when you have enough evidence this is actually a good thing, chances are that you'll be in a much better position to attract external funding. So by resources, I mostly mean you have your day job, your savings, your mom's fridge, where the food comes from, that allows you to spend some time on your ideas. But there's fourth, it's resilience. And I think this is kind of supersedes everything else, because failure is when you give up, not when your idea is bad. If you realize your idea is bad, then invent a better idea, right? And keep going until something works. And maybe patience as well. There was a study about founders that most startup founders are above 35 or so, and most successful founders, or the median age for successful founders who have exited with substantial profit, are 40-something plus. Meaning that if you are, let's say, at school and try to build a company, you have very slim chances. Not because your ideas are bad, but because to pull off good ideas, it takes experience. So, resilience not to give up on the first failure. That's the short answer of it.
Got it. Thanks.
So maybe last question?
If I may. So, in my experience, at least at the enterprise level, yes, the biggest problem is actually the siloing of various, delivery, management, and everything else, where actually you spend most time actually trying to find someone who can push your issue forward, who can resolve it. In your experience, which companies were able to resolve it best? Or what tips did they have? Some ideas they used to move it better forward.
So I have, come to a conclusion that you cannot get rid of complexity. Big organizations are complex, and there's very little you can do about it. It's just a lot of layers, many people involved, many silos, many conflicting interests. They just exist, and I don't think there's a good solution to that, at least not in software engineering. But what you can do is you can move around the complexity where it hurts the least. And to give you an example, you can, for example, give teams autonomy. That's Spotify's model. where each team is treated as almost a startup. They can do whatever they want. They're feature focused, like there's an actual team that tries to build the best play button in the world. And they have complete freedom to do it or do whatever it takes to design it, build it, ship it, maintain it, collect telemetry, and figure out what's wrong with the play button. So they operate in relative autonomy from everything else, and they don't have to ask for permission or deal with the corporate BS that you described. That's very good. That's one way to do it. The other way is to have a big boss, senior architect at the very top that basically points a finger and gives directions to teams. That's the other scenario. The first scenario gives a lot of empowerment to teams and moves the complexity away from small features to cross-cutting features, because when you have many small teams doing their own thing, it becomes problematic to build cross-cutting features. Because suddenly teams have to work together in new configurations, and they are not used to that, and they start stepping on each other's toes, and it's mess. So that's where the complexity lies. If you have the second option, you have the senior architect pointing fingers at teams and tells you do that, you do this, that complexity is gone, because the senior architect supposedly knows how to organize the work. The problem is that it's one man or a few people doing the planning and directions, which might make no sense on the ground level. So in the idea gets lost. So I don't really have a solution for this. All I can say is that you can figure out the configuration where you move the complexity where it hurts the least.
Which companies have actually made the, which companies are worth looking at if I want to get some tips from things that actually work? Because, for example, we have 1,000+ repositories. Each of them has their own Terraform Enterprise workspace. Each of them has their own permissions set, and that's a big mess in there. Because when you actually need to jump between repositories, it takes much more time just to get started than actually to fix the issue.
Okay, two things come to my mind. Is there's one article, and I think it's written in a very accessible language. It's about autonomy and alignment, because you need a good balance of autonomy. Give people freedom to do what they think is best, but you have to maintain the alignment so the organization as a whole moves in a certain direction. And you can play with the two to achieve different effects. That is one. The second is there's a very good podcast on Spotify, by Spotify. It's called The Product Story. And it's popular science type of version of how they become a company that they are. I think it's slightly outdated because they're also evolving, but at least it shares some ideas. For example, of code ownership, how to reason about it and what makes sense and what does not, and so on. So I would look there, but I have seen for example, Eriks was there on the slides. It's a large company. It's I think 100,000 people employed globally. They have their problems. But they have senior architects on all levels. They try their best to direct people around. Well, it works. They are the market leaders in their segment. Spotify has 3,000 engineers, but they ship hundreds of times per day. The product that we all know, they have problems. Some of them are the same problems that the big company has. It's not like you can get rid of them. It's just different strategies to tackle those challenges.
My experience.
Maybe let's leave that for the break. Yes.
So I'm very happy to keep discussing these topics over drinks or whatever else is going to be there.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
And you get a best question reward if you want to pick someone. We only had a small token of.
You have to throw this?
You can do that as well.
No, I'm just going to pass it. Thank you for the question about my PhD thesis. It was not the focus of today, but I appreciate you noticing it.
Awesome. Could you clarify? I don't think I heard. What exactly does this ball?
It's just for the presenter gives you a small token from us for the best question.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, and So I'm on LinkedIn. I have an email address, so if you find any of this relevant and interesting, I'm usually excited to talk about this.
All right, thank you very much. A big round of applause for Eriks. Here, and a small present from us as well,
Ooh.
as a thank you for
Thank
coming
you
here
very
and
much.
presenting. All right, thank you very much. And we can continue with a different part now, with a lightning talk from Kalmar's and half of Kalmar's Mārtiņš. Let's. We need to
take the microphone.
Yes, we have to switch microphones. Small technical pause. Switching microphones, and that will work as well. Yes. Okay.
So I can start?
Does it get more full screen?
Maybe full screen.
It was.
This is how he wanted it.
Ah.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
kind of linked, so yeah.
Ah. Okay.
So let's warm up a little bit. So raise your hands who is doing some vibe coding or at the free time or using AI to develop things. Okay, good. So this next question, who wants pizza? Raise your hand. Okay, a little bit pressure on my side. It means that I don't have 10 minutes, I have like 4 minutes. So yeah, I'm going to speak really like in understandable terms shortly, so I hope you get something out of this. So what I have been doing for the past month, I was like a really good test dummy in regards to doing vibe coding. And what I did, I was doing vibe coding by ignoring all of the rules, and next to me was sitting my technical guy CTO, and who was like just monitoring what I'm doing, what mistakes I'm performing. So yeah, if you don't want your vibe coded solution or app look something like this, there are some simple things that would be good that you follow. And what I like really about this picture is two things. First thing, I created this picture, and second thing, each chair represents a prompt. And if you do it without any structure or without any framework, this is how it will look like. So these are Lovable, Cursor, and VO. And also, I'm not working with 200 startups, but I'm part of the shipyard where it's like about 10 to 20 startups, so I also monitor and see what happens on that side. So first thing, those who want to create an app or develop a software as a service solution, I really recommend before you jump in and start vibing your first landing page or idea, just understand where you are heading. What is the end result, what you want to achieve? Because it will create a totally different foundation than the start for you. And the second thing, if you are not a technical person or you don't know what are the frameworks, the languages, etc., ask in the chat. Like, for example, what could be the best framework for me if I want to build this thing? It will be significantly better just jumping into the Cursor and trying to build your service. I did it, and what happened that I wanted to create an invoicing app, and I went to the point that I was not able to add a new feature. Whenever I wanted to add the simplest new feature, everything always crashed. It crashed, it crashed. I couldn't debug it. It wanted to add only logs, but nothing happened. So I really suggest you to use some framework and already give it into the context where you're heading. Setup. I have been seeing this for a lot of times, that people who use Cursor or Lovable or VO app, they don't spend time setting up these things like in the setup. For example, in Cursor, there's a reason why there's rules files or skills or MCP servers that you can install or docs. So I really suggest you set up these things. It will significantly help you and give a better code quality. I can suggest also one thing is, for example, documentation. If you know that your app will use some advanced, I don't know, framework or anything, you can upload a direct documentation, a direct version of the thing that you're going to use. And MCP server. So if you're really like in the entry level or mid-level, there's also really cool MCP developed by Chrome that whenever you write your prompt and execute, you can ask, hey, test this feature. He will create an automated test script, check your console logs, check everything, just validate if that what you vibed actually works. So by just reducing the time. Design. And this is where I see like most of the vibe coded solutions. It's a lovable VO. It can be Cursor, Claude. If you don't specify what type of design framework you're going to use, in most of the cases, it's going to be ShotCN. And what it happens, it looks so similar. Every website right now looks so similar because it uses the same components, same design principles, only what is different is colors. What I can suggest to you if you want to be different and want to create some nice design, for example, Google AI Studio. I'm actually impressed how good the Google AI Studio is creating the designs. Another thing, if we speak about like how we can test in production and improve design, like in a faster way, there is a Microsoft Clarity. You can actually connect Microsoft Clarity to your product. It has an MCP server, and when you have gathered the data, you can just tell, hey, develop me a wireframe based on the data what I have to improve, and it will create a nice wireframe for you, like based on the data on the existing website, what you have to change, what you have to improve, and it actually works nice. And yeah, performance. I know that it's also an issue in, not in a vibe-coded apps, but in the IT companies when you develop things and you are lacking on testing or etc. But what I see is that when you're vibe coding an app, usually everything looks nice and dandy. There is no issues, there are no problems, everything is fast because also there is not enough of data. So if you're going to have a solution where you will have a data a lot in the production, I suggest you use also a lot of data on your local environment so you can already see which pages loads a lot of time, which components are failing or just even not responding sometimes because the request is too big or taking too much time or too long. Yeah, as most of the SaaS products, it's basically create, read, update, delete functions only just wrapped around a nice, I would say, not a presentation, but it's a wrapper, right? So what I see an issue that you can actually sometimes even, for example, you want to create a form that you want to send to admin panel. You can spam sometimes that button. It will just create multiple these entries. Or just by removing an inspect element, this JavaScript disabled attribute, you can like flood your database. Like just, there are some issues around that. Yeah, vibe debugging and testing. A lot of you have maybe saw some memes or jokes that most of the time you're not spending by writing a code, but like testing the code. And already what I mentioned it before, what I suggest is to use, for example, Chrome DevTools MCP. And whenever you ship a feature, it should be tested right away. Because what I see, what most, not most, but like typical vibe coder is doing, they're focusing on results, they're rushing further, but they are ignoring the testing, the most crucial part, that you have to test a lot of things. I just want to make sure that, okay, pizza is coming. One thing, maybe you already know, by raising, like as AI are progressing also cyber threats. And actually, this is really cool post published by Claude, that it wrote how by using Claude, 15 big American companies got like hacked, and how by using Claude AI hacking agents they did it. And this is like, it was the first reported case about orchestrated cyber attack by AI agents. So you just should be aware about the cyber threats as well. Yeah, and a lot of people are forgetting this local environment is not the same as production environment. These are two completely different things. I'm surprised I'm telling this in a DevOps meetup, but if someone is like vibing and forgetting about this, so yeah, just make it in consideration. And I have one last simple ask. I'm creating and developing a startup that helps people to understand their production environments by simply using a chat. So this is a super quick demo. There's a chat. You ask your question, why my production, for example, failed during a Black Friday. We analyze all of the logs and information and display you in a very simple format what happened, what we analyzed, and what you have to do to resolve this issue. What I really would ask you guys, those who are really experts in DevOps, I would love to, like during the pizza, not now, hear your thoughts about it, some recommendations, and yeah, this is what we are building on the side. 10 minutes have passed. I want to survive. There's a pizza waiting, and yeah, this was me. I hope you took at least 1 or 2 or 3 data points from this quick presentation, and yeah, thank you.
You survived, and that's it for the first part of the event, and now all to pizzas. And a little thanks to you as well.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we can proceed to the room next to us for some lovely drinks and food. And our second speaker of the night is Mārtiņš Meļķis. Big round of applause for him. Well,
will you do the magic with the lighting, or?
yes, I will do the magic. And here, clicky.
Yes. Thank you.
Welcome. I do the lights and go ahead.
So is it related to DevOps? What do you think? Carlos asked me that question, yes? Eriks, sorry. Eric, yes?
So do you imply that only men can do true DevOps?
Yes. I don't know.
Yes.
You are the speaker, you answer the question.
I will try. I will try. Try strong, silent, lost. What it means to be a man today. Well, there will be probably a man who have gone much more experienced than me. But I will share some stuff from my own side and my own point of view. What does that mean exactly? So when I'm saying this, like what it means to be a man, don't worry. Like we're not gonna hold hands together. We're not going to cover some deep stuff or something like that. So sit in the circle. What? You can stay here. You want? Yes, of course. Ladies are welcome always. Why not? So yeah, don't worry. So it will be a brief talk about this topic. And so how to start? Who am I? So my name is Mārtiņš, as already said. I'm a professional coach with certification. I like working with people. I have developed also a coaching community here in Latvia. We've been doing and curating that for almost 3 years right now. Around 80 people altogether. The same like you do, guys. You meet here, so for the community reasons, right? So who from here is a first-timer here? First-timers. Wow. Who's like regular timer here?
How much counts as a regular?
I don't know, 2, 3, 3. You know, statistics starts from 3 usually, not 2. So 2 is coincidence still, you know. So, but yeah, I like doing this kind of stuff, you know, finding what is else there. When I thought of like this topic, I proposed it. Like I didn't know that it would be accepted. We contacted with Oldish, and they said like, well, this will be a fresh topic, what to like discuss here. And when I think about being a man or being a man or what it means to be a man in this this current world, for me, like the first question is like transition from identities, like from boy to a man. So it's kind of a transition from one side to another one. It's like develop stuff. It's like you don't have stuff and you develop and you have some stuff and then you have another stuff and then you go further again. It's something similar. You go from one point towards another point and you have different experiences in one point and towards another point. So you want growth as you develop softwares. You want better software, more easily accessible, better features, stuff like that. Could be something similar. I was like making some notes from the other speakers, and I was like thinking how to deliver this in your understandable more way, you know. And when we think of this identity transition about the boy, like being like we want to seek approval, we avoid discomfort, we sometimes blame circumstances. Like I could develop a software and blame somebody else like, because of this feature's not working, right? Like I can take on ownership that I did something wrong, so I can like, you know, change the stuff or delay difficult decisions. And what it means to be a man, more like this will be just like a brief or short explanation, like to take more responsibility. What do you do? Or to choose discomfort when it's needed. Or to own your own consequences, know what to do. Or make decisions when it's uncertain. Who knows, like, who can make sure of what is happening tomorrow? Like, we live in an uncertain world, so it makes us to understand how to make decisions in uncertainty. And what has helped me towards going that, it's not like a binary thing, you know. You were once a man, you're strong, decisive, you know the stuff, you know what to do, you know, it's like forever and ever. It doesn't happen like that. It's not binary, like 1 and a 0. It's a transition. So you, in different parts of the, in different fields of the life, you just move towards that, like it's like in percentage-wise. So, and one has helped me a lot, pleasing versus serving. I'm kind of a person that would want to do stuff for other people. I would say yes to the things, you know, to opportunities, to experiences and everything like that. So that would give me a lot of in the pleasing mode. And that's not somewhere actually you want to be, because you're exhausted in that actually, because you want to do it from the boy's perspective, you want to please other people. But when you want to serve, you have boundaries. As you said, like in the development process, you have boundaries, like who's responsible for what. You set boundaries for the things, you know. That's easier, much easier, but you can still serve, you can still provide results. So in the first transition for me, which happened almost 14 years ago, was becoming a husband. That's a transition of identity, sort of, a little bit. But I'm married only for 1 year. So, but I still had to get to that point for 14 almost years. Why I say that, why I share that experience, because, you know, everybody has some kind of things that you want to decide for. Maybe you want to build a company, maybe you want to get, I don't know, married, maybe you want to build a startup or whatever that would be. There will be some decisions that are uncomfortable because you are like, you think you're not ready maybe, you want to, I don't know, more time about that. But actually time doesn't make any change. When you do the first decision, then you have the first iteration, you know, and then when you have the first iteration, you can move forward. So, I like this one about the systemic approach for being, as a husband, a man stands stronger besides a woman, not against her. So what does that mean for me? You know, my during these like 14 or 10 like years when I met my grandma, she was always saying like, Mārtiņš, will you ever like marry Christine, or like you're gonna live for this like forever or something like that? You know, and we somehow grew together that life gets kind of, how to say, you get used to, you get to the routine. So it's so routine, like you can even be married for 10 years and it's a routine. So you get used to routines and it doesn't evolve anymore. But growth means that you do not stay at that point, so that you grow further, you develop things, you know. So, and why this quote a little bit, because like what it means to be a man. So some people would say, you know, 2 half person meet together to become a whole. That's a little bit false idea. You're a whole person, like you're not a half of something, you're a whole human being, you know? That would be like, I don't know where this idea came from actually, but that sounds a little bit weird. Like 2 halves meet to make one. That's not the human being. So 2 whole human beings, like fully normal human beings, meet to make something much greater. And a little picture. I just had to like it, you know? For the 2 girls here, I don't know. Why not? When I say being a husband, like some people live like this. They say, you know, I'm responsible for my stuff, you're responsible for your stuff, you know. Men, usually, it's so easy for men to get into their own action, so like get into their own thing, into cars, into some other stuff, and just like do whatever you need, you know, do whatever you want. That's easy because that's hiding. I'm just busy of making money, you know, like that's, why not? Much better is just to be like this. Just put it together. You work as a team. So now I see like my family I see as a team. You know, we see some struggles, we're a team. Like we have some good time, we're a team. We have some bad time, we're still a team. You know, we go through that together. It's not separation, it's integration together. So that really helped me. So lesson number 1 for me was don't wait 14 years for the important decisions. Do I regret that? Of course not, but I had like too much time to just kind of discover that. If you make that decision right now, you will save your at least few years, you know. And yeah, and see yourself as a team when you play with people together. So another role towards that transition, which is not a binary thing, but towards that, was becoming a father, you know. They say that child changes a person. Who are fathers here? Is it true or not?
Definitely.
What changed when you become a father?
I wasn't a father on 2014 when the war first started.
Okay.
And my first idea was, if something happens, I'll run away.
Yeah.
22nd started, I drove there. Yes, I'm not to the 0,
Yeah.
but with you know, food, with cars, with everything.
Nice.
Getting the refugees back. You know, at the very beginnings there were many of them.
Great, great. So something changed. And that is about the responsibility. You find that there is somebody else that you are responsible for, right? So there's another human being you're responsible for. That changes identity. So our daughter is only 10 months old. And when she came, I thought, you know, I want to like be in this role. I don't want to wait another like 10 years to get into this role in a better position. I want to go like right away, you know, how to be a better father, you know, in that role, how to be a better husband. That's a little girl, 10 months. Great, lovely, right? So a man fully stands as a man if he he rejects his father, like cannot fully stand. This was a like important lesson for me also, but I know like for myself and I know for other of my friends and people I've talked to, you know, like there are some stuff that I do not agree or accept from my own father. But then as a man, it's hard to, then I'm refusing some part of the power that actually man has. So you never actually want to reject your family or reject the father that has given life for you. That's weird, right? But I can still disagree with the things that he's done. That's okay. I can still disagree. I would do something better, but I can accept the way he is right now. We will not go deep into this. Like that's not necessary. But accepting gives the freedom of that. So when I wanted to go full into that role, I thought, okay, I think I have to have some initiation to that role. And on LinkedIn, I found out there was this great big event of 50 hours of camp into nature. Has anybody been in the Pavlosta for the 50-hour man? You will probably not because you're not allowed. Do not wave. You're not allowed there. Only men are allowed in that one. But I just immediately paid those 500 euros in that day, just decided I have to go there because I learned that I cannot leave the important decisions. I have to move forward with the decisions. Like if I feel like this is important, just do the decision and move forward, you know. And that was really powerful event. If anybody, if you like nature a little bit, you can for surely go there. It was uncomfortable. It was like uncertainty. It was how you play in a team. Can you support another team member? Can you take responsibility for other in your team if something doesn't work out? It was tense. It was tense. It was uncomfortable experience. But I think that exactly the uncomfortable experiences shape the persons. It's not in the lovely, you know, things and everything is nice and around and stuff like that. But actually going out there in the world and, like you said, like testing out things, testing, you know, in reality, like you do with the software and stuff like that. So 50 men together, that's a little bit of power, I would say. And lesson from this one, I realized that men need another man in order to grow. I didn't know that before. I thought, who the hell? You just need maybe some other people. Maybe you don't need like nobody you need. Maybe you can just grow alone. That's possible. But I didn't have that experience before. And after that, when I realized, well, there's different energy when you actually grow with men together. There is no competition because men are competitive. You know, we can fight. You know, get in the ring or beat another one. You're the loser. I'm the winner. That's nice. That's another way. That's good. That's also necessary. But in that environment, you're not competitive. You're just growing as a person. That's a little bit different. So what does the growth actually mean? And I thought how to display that for you guys a little bit. Is that I have like the saying, you can never have enough of what you don't really need. A little bit philosophy a little bit. But what does it say? That sometimes we want something, but we get the result totally different. For example, sometimes we want success in order to be happy, but you know that it doesn't work like that. Sometimes we want money to feel good about something, but you know that it doesn't work like that. So there are different dimensions, but our mind can play some tricks around us that if we get this one, we'll sure be getting this one, but those are in parallel worlds. And we assume some stuff. So how to actually understand that? I wrote just the 2 lines, you know. This is actually from the University of Santa Monica in the United States, so this is not mine. But they really briefly explain this one. I like this. And the x-axis, it's a goal line, you see. It's a goal. We're really very goal-oriented society. So we create stuff, we take projects, we take professions, we become specialists, IT specialists, we become doctors, artists, managers, entrepreneurs, we build businesses. We set everything on the goal line. We know how to do it. That's like easy, like structure, do. That's a one dimension. That's fine, that's a good dimension. But when you have only one dimension, you lose other part. And that is a vertical line. That's a soul line. That's the becoming of man in the man case. It's also for women, you also have souls, right? It's not like you're soulless. I hope so. I don't know. No, yeah, probably not. But
They're not ginger, you know.
A ginger is soulless? Really?
Well, that's like a joke.
Oh, okay, I didn't know. If you say so, if you meet someone, just tell me. But yeah, there's another dimension where you can actually grow. And that's a beautiful dimension. Don't rob yourself of that dimension. The problem is that sometimes we think that setting only the things on the goal line will give us actually the pleasure of the soul line. Shit, it doesn't happen. You just have to realize that in a hard way. When you're 90 years old, maybe, I don't know. But what does the soul line look like? The goal line, it's a game of life. We know how to play game. We know how to play in a company. Like you can just learn that. That's algorithm. If you do the right stuff, you can earn money. If you do the right stuff, you can get a better job. You just like play the algorithm. Soul line is a little bit like an art, a little bit different. In the bottom of that, you have a fear, anxiety, stress because of the goal lines you have set, you know, oh, this is not working, I have to do this, I had this do better, you know, some self-talk and stuff like that. But when you actually develop on the soul line, you are more in a creativity mode. You unleash more creativity, you unleash more compassion, more love. And what is the magic about that? That you actually have a great result also on the goal line. It's not like when you do a little bit of soul and spirituality growth that you will like live in a cave and do nothing. Like, no, it doesn't happen like that. You just have a different experience doing the same stuff, a better experience, so a better setting goals and better achieving the stuff, better building the company, better building the startup and stuff like that. So silent. I like it. But yeah, other words, that's the game of life, that's living life. The soul is about how you experience. It's not about the doing itself, it's about how you actually experience that. That's a little bit different dimension. And could you actually achieve that like in one weekend? Like I went to this camp for 50 hours now, I'm a man, it's all done, I'm like, soul is like skyrocketing, and that's all, like I don't have to do anything anymore. Like, does it happen like that? Exactly, no. It's not a weekend project. You cannot actually do that in 1 weekend. It's a process. You have to just be constantly doing that, willing to do that over time, because there are some things that you have to rewrite your source code, or your own source code actually. So, and this one is actually hard to give up. Like, I am upset because, let's say, I am upset because they don't understand me. Have you heard anybody, when you talk to somebody and you think, oh, that guy just don't understand me. Like, you're just not understanding what I'm saying. Or and then you can say, is there a rule that everybody should understand you? Like, who the hell said that everybody should understand you? Like, that's a little bit weird, no? Or people don't listen to me. Like, does everybody need to listen to you? And what people do, they just get upset that other people don't listen to them, or other people don't understand them. But there are no rules that everybody should listen to and everybody should understand you. Or I don't know, this project was unfair, or the life is unfair. Is it written that it should be fair? Who said it? Maybe it isn't unfair, and that's okay. So, or if you get you don't know what to be upset, you can be always upset about the traffic. Oh, that's a terrible traffic. There's always a traffic jam, So what I'm saying is that you can always be upset about stuff, but that's giving power to the things that are actually happening outside of your own control. But we are so actually driven towards that. We just cherish that, this responsibility giving to other people, that it's so hard to get rid of this. That's why you need a little bit of time, that you cannot do it in 1 weekend. You need time until you can actually understand and actually embody that. It's okay, actually. If you don't understand, yeah, it's fine for me. If you don't listen to me, okay, maybe I can approach you differently, that you can actually listen to me. And the traffic is fine, So you go from the victim position to the owner position. And it's good to be an owner of your life, good to be owner of the things you do, because then you can control them. And people usually like to control things, so that's a nice position. So, my invitation is open yourselves to conversations where you can actually expand that experience towards the soul line and get better results also in the goal line, because that's the transition. I have experience and I can suggest to other people. This is another picture from that. Only 1 weekend experience, but still I'm cherishing it. I'm really grateful for all the trainers, all the people who are organizing the event, for other men to actually can go through that experience. At the end, I wanted to put together something that maybe you can relate more. I do not understand the DevOps world. I don't know. You can explain me what that is, maybe. But when I saw it, I just put a Google DevOps. So this was the first image. I was like, okay, let's put it in the slides. So what I took from this, it's a process. It's a repetition. It's a system. Is it correct, or sort of process? Is it process? Continuous process. Yeah, continuous process. So for ourselves, it's the same process, but we can do it for other things. We can easily update the software, we can put out other features and stuff like that. But it's harder to update our own software. It's still the same process. You can go through that, the updating process. It's just you run on sometimes we run on outdated processes. There's never been an update. It's error, error. Sorry, update's coming. Never. Sorry. But the problem is that the controller of the update is yourself. There's nobody else in there. They're like, Zoom will not send you an update like said installed update today. No, nope, sorry, that's your choice to do that. You have to do it yourselves. So, and you don't rise to the level of your goals. I like this quote a lot. You fall to the level of your systems, and that is your processes. That's whoever has read the James Clear's book Atomic Habits. This is a great quote. I like it because sometimes we just set goals, but then we forget that actually the habits shape what we can do. It's also in a very practical way in a company. Forget the main thing, just in the company, the stuff you do. You build software. What is the system that you have for yourself that you can code or you can develop a software today? What's your system? Wake up, think about 20 minutes, go for a walk, think about anything. So, and you can just check what that system is. And you see that, well, there was no time for actually doing the stuff. So that system is not actually working, right? So we always fall to the level of the systems we can actually realize in the life, you know? That's it. It was not that hard. Maybe you have some question. You're smiling, so it's good. What do you thought about the systems of yourself or? One question, great.
Actually, not a question, just more reflection about, you said about firmware and we are operating might be on outdated firmware. And give an example of this Zoom. So Zoom is kind of a digital training now to get some convenience.
Yeah.
But it's really always hard to update firmware, whatever, BIOS for example, or firmware on your device if it's not kind of iPhone or
Yes.
you need to install something on your, for example, controller.
Yes.
It's really hard. I just wanted to highlight that this good comparison, but also it's my reflection of firmware.
But it will be hard if you want to update your software. It will be hard, yes.
For Zoom, no.
No, for Zoom easy, but for yourself hard, yes.
But for your BIOS, absolutely yes.
Agree, exactly. It will be hard, but it will be priceless. Because, yeah?
To add up to the previous question, so there's been quite a lot of self-development literature, sometimes really deep, like Roger Anton Wilson, but what is the cutting edge? What are the most modern advances in updating oneself?
Updating.
Please quote something.
Yeah, you know, okay. What's the cutting edge technology of updating yourself? You could ask that to Elon Musk probably. I don't know, but what I can say is that you know, yeah, he will figure out something. But what I've realized that this one, like, I don't have like a huge experience in coaching. I would say I have around 200 clients been through. But what I noticed, the change takes time. Like every change takes time, and consistency, exactly. And what I've come to now, I've worked with several people. We work like for at least we haven't done yet, but we will work for half a year. So because like when you meet someone and you want to grow in both lines that I described to you, it really cannot happen in 1 weekend, because like let's say you want to do something that you have hesitated for quite a time. Let's say you like get up motivated, you have this like a pool of energy, and you like, today I just do the first draft of the app. I do the coding and just did the first draft. Great, Mārtiņš, good accomplishment. But what the problem will rise, when you waited, let's say you waited, I don't know, 2 years, you had this idea. Like when you did the first draft of this idea, suddenly those 2 years will just come up and say, oh, you cannot do this, it will not work, who are you to actually do it? It will just burst into your mind that you will have all these questions, all these doubts, like very fastly. So, and there will be this possibility to slip immediately back of not doing. So, of course, the action is the end result that actually shapes the change. So there's nothing else. And the end result is always the action in the physical world. But everything that your mental process has been gone, like what you have gone through, it will just burst up and hold like hold you back from not changing. It will try just stay the same as you are. Just do the same as you did. You know this stuff. Just don't do anything else. So it will just try to protect you forever and ever. So if you find that cutting edge thing, just tell me also, because I also want to know. And what I know, it takes time and continuous. You said consistency. It takes consistency. And in the coaching tandem, usually how it works, you're a partners. So the coach is the partner for this thing. So as the client is the partner and the coach is your partners for this thing together. So he will provoke stuff, but you have to stick during the time. After a few months, I can tell how that worked out. Yeah? Did I answer a little bit of the question? Yeah? Yes? Right corner.
But I have like a more practical question. So I'm running locally this like LLM locally from Alano with like 3 billion parameters.
Yes?
And I'm using like 10 gigabytes of RAM.
Okay.
And the answers that I get from this LLM taking usually like 1 minute or 2.
Okay.
And I'm paying for the server something like 30-40 euro per month. But maybe somebody already like solved this problem and they found some like reliable server company that rents this virtual private servers with preferably video.
That sounds like a question for later.
Yeah, but what's the question?
But that's what I really expected from this like meetings, that I will get some like more practical answers, not about how to be a man.
Have you tried Hetzner Marketplace?
Which one?
Hetzner Marketplace?
Cats?
Have you talked with File MLF?
Hetzner, they sell cheap servers that have been.
Okay, let's. So those are the questions for afterwards that we could have in the next room. So.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
You will find the practical in LLM, right? So.
All right. So.
Thank
you.
you.
Can give the prize to the one that you like the most. Questions.
Let's give it to the cutting edge technology. You asked the question. Yes. Give them applause.
And a small gift from us.
Yes.
You.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
Yes. Bye.
Small gift and you. All right.
This is for you.
This is for me, and the microphone as well, maybe.
I can, yes.
Thank you. All right. So this concludes our presentation part. And if we go back, wherever I have the slides. Yes. And it didn't change. Perfect. Yes. So, whoops, you didn't see anything. So, this concluded our presentations for today, but we do have some more things we want to announce or show you and share with you. So maybe let's ask Father DevOps Aldis himself to talk about them.
So no question. Okay, because we need to move on. Because I will forget. Whoa, I keep hitting
I don't
people
know.
with static. It's from my cat. I don't know why. It's probably somewhere here. Anyhow, I'll do this before I move to the next one. Before I do that, so we're here, the community. We're here to help out each other. Please help us to pack up the room when we are finished. Yeah. If it's going to stay like 10 people, then we will be packed up in a moment, and if 20, then in half a moment, right? That's simple math. And then, so who knows what is Riga Tech dinner? Who has been to at least one? Whoa, who has been to at least two? Okay, and there's definitely a few people who have been to 3. Andre, for example, yes. And I've been to 12. I think I've been to 12. Yeah. And then the next one is on the 10th of March
We typically have the two special guests. This time is going to be about global IT and services. So we will have there the Baltics EPAM lead, Dennis. He will come from Lithuania to meet us. And then we'll have Andrejs Šnipke from Oracle. He's been there. He's as in Latvian we say mēbele. He's been in Oracle for many, many years. He knows ins and outs. He definitely has a lot of interesting stories. And then we have dinner there. We enjoy the evening. We go home. Typically the best evenings apart from family in my month. So, if you're interested to come, it does cost some very super small money just as a symbolic thing. But then this is a WhatsApp group. This is not the actual event. This is a WhatsApp group. But then also the event as such, you can find it on the meetup.com. You sign up. We see you on March of 10th. That's it. But this is the WhatsApp group where nothing ever happens. Because there shouldn't, but then I post there about the next event, and you are the first ones to get to know. Then, wow, yes, once again, super big thanks to Arvato, big claps, yay! Okay, thank you. Then do send your feedback. We take it very seriously. We read it once, and then we're super happy on the next day when we get the results. And then we read it once, and then we implement every smallest detail that you have suggested, obviously. But yeah, we actually look at them very, very seriously. So please leave us some feedback in the form. And then tonight is a different type of approach. Typically we were staying back here and having some discussions. Tonight we need to pack up super fast, but instead those who are interested to have those after conversations see you at Audēju Street 8, which is basically around the corner in the place called Sloshed. And there, well, it's a bar, we sit there, we talk for an hour or so. So immediately, who's coming? Okay, at least one person, definitely we're going, I will talk with Maris. And then others definitely can join. That's it. That was the last slide. Now we pack up super fast. Please help us. We need to move all these chairs and whatnot, and maybe Lima will tell us other things that we need to do. I don't know. And there's Andrea as well. Yeah. So thanks for the evening. Thanks, Edgar.